As of recording, it's Saturday, which means now's the time that I make my weekly recap video where I basically go over every single interesting event that's happened in the community over the past 7 days. Now, there has been so much that's happened this week that I am obviously not going to be able to cover everything. I've tried to cover a ton of different stuff from a variety of different things, from verifications to new level releases to progress to community events, right? But I'm obviously going to miss out some things, so I'm sorry if you wanted something covered here that isn't. But let's just get right to it because I'm going to have to go through these pretty quickly because of how much stuff there is. So first off, I like to talk about the new list placements we've seen on the demon list, and there's been a couple actually. The first one here is Blitz, which is a level that got verified a couple months ago and quickly rated. It was expected to be a top 120 at the time, so even after a couple months stuff got placed, I still think that this was overrated in difficulty by a couple of spots. It didn't place as high as the verifier thought it would, but this is still an impressive achievement. Currently, it is about to fall off the list. It was 148, but it's moved down to 149 because of another level that recently got added, which is Glungus Adventures. This one, I feel like everyone knows. It's a Conics verification, he is a member of TCD, and it's a really interesting level where it's kind of like an Acropolis. That level is a remake of Acropolis, but then it randomly throws in this cat called Glungus, and then you basically have to fight Glungus with a bunch of minigames. A lot of people, I feel like, hate on this just because it's verified by Conics and is associated with TCD, which people think of as corporate, but I still think this is really cool. This is one of the most interesting, actually, scratch that, I think it is the most interesting level in the demon list right now, and I'm so glad that it actually ended up placing on the list. Some people thought it was going to be Legacy, some people thought it was going to be harder than Zodiac, but it's kind of placed in the middle of that value. We also saw this level, Silent Lunch, which got added to the list at spot 130. This is a Lord Vadercraft verification. He verifies a ton of stuff, and it is super long. If you look at this verification video, it is over 6 minutes long, this verification video. The actual level lasts around 5 minutes or so, and it is just so impressive that he's able to beat levels this long. I like this level because it feels a lot like a 2.1 level, like an early 2.1 level and a 2.2 level smashed together. It's got this really weird vibe that I enjoy. It stays interesting throughout the whole thing, and in the verification video, Lord Vadercraft is humming the entire song. So you know it's impressive he's able to keep up a cover of the song for over 5 minutes with just his voice. But yeah, that is Silent Lunch. And also, like, what is this name? Are we actually going to get the Meal Trilogy? Please make that a thing. And the hardest level of the bunch we're going to talk about is Trick Shot. This is a level that's really interesting. It just fell shy of the top 80. And it is a kind of just plain Extreme Demon. Like, the actual decoration doesn't look too interesting. But from what I've seen and from what the other victors have stated, this is a super fun level. It's got a really upbeat song, it's got a really good vibe, and I just really like this level. Vonik is the verifier of it, which is also the creator of the level, so yeah, this is a solo level. It's really cool to see a high-placing solo level on the list, and hopefully people enjoy this. The reason I think that people enjoy this is because if we look down at the records, there is already so many people who have beaten this. These levels have all been placed and made at like the exact same time pretty much, so there isn't any kind of length divide here. There's just so many victors of this level for some reason. If you go back to all the other ones that I've talked about, they only have like 1 or 2 victors currently like placed on the demon list. So the fact that we already have 17 here is kind of crazy. And moving on, let's talk about ADH Dynamics. We're going to start talking about some levels that got verified recently. This is one of them. It is verified by Hover, who is currently the person that's trying to verify Silent Acropolis. He did this as a break from the level. I don't know if he's still on his Silent Acropolis break. He might be. But this is a really interesting level. It kind of looks similar to Trickshot, but it doesn't really have much to it as well. It's just, you know, a decent level. It seems to play really fun. The decoration is just, like, fine. But yeah, it seems really fun to play. This is expected to be harder than Zodiac. That's Hover's estimate, but he doesn't really know. It might be, like, slightly harder or a bit harder or maybe not even, but that's the estimate that we've been given. And yeah, GG to him for beating this. He only took like a couple thousand attempts. It was really impressive. But yeah, very cool level. We also saw a level called Sero Kaizo 4 get verified. I think that's how you say the name. This is a really interesting level because it is a platformer. A lot of people don't really cover platformers, but I like to. This is potentially a top 10 that recently got verified. It's supposedly around convolution difficulty, which on the Pman list is around the lower ends of the top 10. And this is really interesting because it's an auto-scroller platformer, which means that the screen is constantly kind of moving and you have to navigate before you fall off the screen. And also, it kind of resembles, hence the name, a Mario level. Mario Kaizo levels, they're just really, really hard. Mario levels are custom made, and they all kind of look like this. This very much looks like one. They all have these fast moving objects. I can't really explain to you what a Mario Kaizo level looks like, but if you've seen one and you look at this level, they look very, very similar. It does a good job. Now, this is a level in the series, and from what I can tell, this is one of the better ones from what people have said, but I just think it is a really interesting level. The creator is very proud of it. And this took 22,000 attempts to verify, which is a lot of attempts, but it's also not too crazy. Like a top 10 with only 22,000 attempts is pretty nice. So yeah, congrats to Sero on verifying this. Now we move on to some levels that are getting just released or in the works, and the first one is Absolute End here. Now, this level is already finished, but this is a update to the level. It's got a couple new features and a kind of like a decoration overhaul for some parts, I believe. And the reason this is interesting is for two reasons. One, it is remaking a show. It's remaking Murder Drones, and you can see that clearly with the story the level depicts and the decoration and theming. But also, the reason I find this level interesting is that this is a mobile level. You know, it was created on mobile and is being verified by its creator. It's another solo level from what I know. This is going to be verified by MaxDash, who you probably know as the person who beat Firework on mobile. And this is cool because this is expected to be harder than Firework. It's expected to be a top 1 on mobile that was made on mobile. It's like an entirely mobile level, you know, it's beat on mobile, created on mobile. I just think that's super impressive. And this level looks really good. I think it's a lot better than the other Murder Drones level that's currently rated on the servers. And the ending is super cool. It got entirely overhauled. Normally, you would just kind of click Sin in the middle here and then kill her, and then that's it. Now there's like an entire cutscene here, which is really cool. I think this looks amazing. That's just so satisfying. And it has a better end screen here, which, again, it just looks really good. I can't wait for this level to release. I think it is amazing. But now let's talk about Battle of the Shades, because something has been happening with this level that is really interesting. Two things. First of all, let's just set out what Battle of the Shades is. Battle of the Shades is kind of this level that is very infamous in the community. It was rated, and then the creator kept updating it, but instead of it just being a normal update, it would completely overhaul the level. And so, hence why we have the titles of phase. It's like first phase, second phase, first phase, fourth phase, you know? There's different phases of the level. And it got harder as it went on, and eventually the level did get unrated, but what you're seeing here is a decorated version of it. They were all kind of just layouts before, or borderline layouts. This is a completely decorated version. I think it looks amazing. It captures that mystique, that mysterious aura that the Battle of the Shades levels have. A lot of people wanted a straight black and white level, which I think would look horrid. I like that it has a bunch of color in it, and the beginning does give homage to Shades, right? It's not like that's entirely devoid in this level. There's clearly parts referencing it, but it would be boring if it was just black and white. This looks like a really beautiful level, and the creators did a great job in making it come to life, and it really feels like a level that would fit in the Battle of the Shades kind of saga. And this decade-old series is kind of climaxing right now because Jester, or Virus, he's went by multiple names, has actually cooked up phase 6 of the Battle of the Shades, right? This is the 6th phase, and you could kind of tell that these levels feel very abstract. They don't feel like the normal levels that you get now. This is obviously using a bunch of 2.2 stuff, but it just has this feeling to it that I cannot describe. I've been stuttering and mumbling this entire time talking about this level, trying to describe it, because I can't really describe to you what this is. And to most people who don't know about Battle of the Shades, this will seem like a very boring thing to cover, but if yous are invested in this series and know the significance it's had, then I think you'll appreciate that we actually got Phase 6, which is crazy to see. As for completions on already rated levels, we saw Chop Blocks beat Silent Clubstep, being the first person in Germany to do this after 61,000 attempts. Is a major achievement. That is a lot of dedication to put into this level. Chopblocks, you probably know as the verifier of Africa Circles, that potentially tidal wave difficulty level. And yeah, I just wanted to shout this out because first in Germany is quite the achievement. Germany's relatively competitive with GD. Not as much as obviously some major countries like Russia or America and stuff, or Spain, but you know, it's still decently up there, so I think this is a pretty valid achievement to cover. You probably know Wordy. He is a absolute top player. He is one of the best in the game currently, and he's been exploding in popularity recently with how major his accomplishments have been. And out of nowhere, he just uploaded some flame wall progress, you know, the top 2 level flame wall. And you would think that this would be just, you know, a regular progress, but no, this is 87% and a fluke from 57. Now, I know that 87% is not as impressive as some other runs we've seen because, you know, Flame Wall is a long level, so that still leaves a lot of gameplay, and the ending's very, very chokeable, as we've seen with people like Zoink and Quattrocientos. But this is just, you know, still a massively impressive achievement, and if Wordy does do this, I think he's in contention for top 5 players. He probably already is, but he's definitely like solidifying a spot there because this is a crazy achievement for someone who's already been popping off recently. I think him and Dovin are pretty even right now. I'm sure Dovin could do this as well, but this is just wow, GG. And I'm in A6's live stream here, another top player in the game, and you can see that he has 74 on Thinking Space 2. What, 74%? Now, yes, I know, again, I'm saying this a lot for these kind of levels, but especially with Thinking Space 2, the ending is increasingly more difficult than everything else. It plays just like Thinking Space in that regard with balancing, where the ending is way harder than anything else. So there's still a lot to go here in terms of difficulty, but 74% is still crazy to just come out of nowhere, especially after we've been seeing people like Servax get 19 to 100 on Amethyst. I might as well talk about it now that we're on the topic of it. I'm not going to be covering anything I've already made a video on. So stuff like the green bullet progress, the orbit progress we've been seeing, stuff like, you know, Servax's runs on Amethyst, I'm not going to be covering because I've already made a video on them, but you can go check out those if you do want to be enlightened on those stuff, but you probably already know about that. I probably should have lumped this into the other category, but we've been seeing decoration previews for a redecoration of unnerfed innards, and it's actually being verified by the host of the level, Xarv. Now, this one's interesting because, you know, innards is a heavily nerfed rated level on the servers. It's an extreme demon around Bloodbath difficulty, but originally it was this super impossible level that got buffed from a medium demon into a harder than Firework difficulty. And while it is still really cool to see an official redeco of this level, you can see a couple of these videos on YouTube right now. I am kind of bummed out because I was going to be verifying a redecoration of unnerfed innards, and now that this official version exists, then that probably isn't going to get rated if it gets finished, so I'm kind of sad about that. I'll still verify it anyways, even if it does, you know, get released. But this is still really cool, and I actually really want to see this come out because I think the Unearthed Innards is such an interesting level of history, and I think it is well deserving of a redecoration. Editing being here, also Popoff got 15 to 100 on Society. What do I need to say? It's Popoff. Did you not expect them to make a new progress like every day? I somehow forgot about this, but it's just because Popoff is getting new best left and right on this level that I probably just kind of mumbled it in there in my mind. He is just actually cracked at the game. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is kind of serious, okay? So, if you want to know more about this kind of drama that's been happening, I recommend just watching this video here addressing the spam challenge list. It's by Squeeg. Now, I am not going to talk about anything in detail about this situation because this covers a bunch of stuff that's happening with the spam challenge list, okay? And a bunch of people involved with it. And there's so much information that's currently coming out that I can't keep up with and I can't just fit into a recap video. But I will say, just watch this with caution. Watch this video with caution because from what I've heard, I've seen so many DMs I've been getting wanting me to cover this, and so many people telling me info about this, but they're kind of both saying very differing sides. There's a ton of people that believe Squeak and what he's been saying, and there's a bunch of people that are saying he's lying about a bunch of stuff, and that a lot of this is false, and they provided evidence. And again, there's so much different things from both sides proving each other's point that I am not going to cover this. I am not qualified right now with what I know to cover this. So watch it at your own risk or find some information from other sources. But I will say, I do think even if this came out as all false or most of it, it is said, and I believe from what I've seen that this is true, that someone named Aquatic did pass away from cyberbullying from the SCL. Even if most of this comes out as false, right? No matter what, I still think we should take that seriously because even there's a 1% chance that it's true, that means there was a loss of a life from this situation, which I feel like I need to highlight. I can't just gloss over that, right? That is terrible, a terrible thing that's happened. And I've noticed in the Discord of the SCL, there's been a bunch of stuff happening. They've been locking it and then re-releasing it, and then they're saying anyone talking about the situation will be banned for a week, which, like, if you're getting accused of all these things, banning talking about it in your server seems kinda messed up, and it doesn't kinda look good. But again, there's so much stuff happening here that I cannot really cover it myself in good faith with, giving 100% valid information. If I cover a drama any point now, I want to be giving completely factual information, and I just can't with this. But still, I wanted to mention this at least because it is a really, really important issue. But a bit lighter news. Here's something from Math Genius. He, 6 days ago, was able to beat Stereo Madness 10,000 times. He did it live, and this is 6 years in the making, which sounds like pretty easy feat comparatively to everything we've talked about. And when you do the math, it doesn't seem like you need to beat Stereo Madness that many times a day. But just doing anything, no matter how difficult the thing is, or no matter what it is, doing it 10,000 times will always be a challenge. This is probably something very mundane and time-consuming and boring for someone who, has played Cerebatus like more than 5 times, and you have to do this 10,000 times, and it's not like a short level, it's a minute and a bit, right? This is still a massive dedication, even if it is over 6 years, and it's more about the fact that he was just able to finish it off, and more about the fact that he is actually able to do something, because this man hasn't posted in 2 years. What are you doing, Math Genius? A bit more sad news, I guess. Durami uploaded a video 3 days ago ranking every upcoming top 1, but this was the final video he left us off with, because if we go to posts, we can see that he says, "Thank you all for everything. Stay safe and see you in 2028. And that is because he's going to mandatory military service because he is from South Korea and you are forced to do that there. You can't just avoid that. And there is ways that you can kind of get a couple of years extended of not going, but it is something that you will have to do in your life, and sadly he has to do it. And of course, Triple T has somehow made it into a message as sad as this. Vernosis also announced that he is going to be interviewing EVW. I thought this was interesting enough to talk about here. Now, EVW has already been on different podcasts, but he is such a major figure in the community that I think I should, talk about this. I should enlighten you this is happening. And also, I mean, it isn't on here, it's on his Vernosis 2 account, but he also interviewed Zeronium recently, if you are interested in that. This is a channel that gets 10% on every Extreme Demon, and when I say every Extreme Demon, I mean it. I mean platformer and normal levels, just all 1,700 of them. And yesterday he was actually able to finish this with the recently rated Master of Puppets, which is a really, really long level. Now, yes, 10% isn't that much on these levels, but when I say every level, I mean every level. Like, these include some of the hardest levels in the game. It includes 2-player levels, levels as absurd as Piano Woman. It contains everything. And he's even done other stuff like getting 10% on Heliopolis and getting 10% on Eternus. 10% on Eternus is massive. So yeah, congrats to this guy for being able to finish this off. 1,000 views is not nearly enough for achievement like this. I would highly recommend you watch this video. And also, the player WK Games became the first American in history to be on all 4 in-game top 100 leaderboards simultaneously. So this includes being on the Star leaderboard, Moon leaderboard, Demon leaderboard, and User Coin leaderboard, which are all the ones that show up on the little right-hand corner of the leaderboard. Now, this doesn't account for creator points, but this is still a insanely incredible achievement, considering that there is like barely any. There is under 10 people who have been able to do this, and WK Games is the first to do this on mobile. Okay? Mobile. This guy has nearly 20,000 moons, over 300,000 stars, and over 5,000 demons, and he is doing this on mobile. How is that even possible? I do not know. The commitment that this guy has is crazy. I've known him for a small bit now, but like this guy is just dedicated years and years on end to playing the game. Huge, huge, huge congrats. LCB announced their solo level in Stasis is finally finished. Again, I kind of have this in the wrong category, but I might as well cover it as well. This is a 9-minute. Why does the caption say here? I'll turn them off. But this is an ultra long project, and I want to cover it because 1, it looks super cool, right? 2, it's currently being verified by the creator, which is crazy because this is going to be a massive jump. It is potentially on the list, and it's going to be a jump from Arctic Lights, from what I know. Editing bean again here. No, it's Sonic Wave, you dingleberry. Sorry, not Arctic Lights. It is Sonic Wave, so that's pretty impressive. But yeah, this is a very cool level, and the fact that something this long is able to be finished solo is, I don't even know how that's possible because it's got so much detail in each parts and they all feel very distinct. And I even make point of levels like Sinister Silence and Master Puppets, which are levels that aren't solo, right? But they still are really impressive for being so long and being finished. So the fact that a level this long was able to be done solo is astonishing. And that is all for today. Now, yes, there was way more news that happened this past week, but I just can't cover everything in one video. The video would be way too long and I would not have enough time on my hands. But yeah, still, I hope that I covered enough for yous, and I hope yous enjoyed this. This is going to be a weekly series still. I do plan to keep this up. I don't know if every video will be this long, but you know. We'll see what happens, right? And yeah, that's about all I have to say. Thanks for watching all the way through, and peace.